Verstappen managed to finish 81% of his races on the podium in 2021. Still though, Michael Schumacher holds the record for highest percentage when in 2002...
Well, good evening ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Current Racing League. This is round 10 for the Miami Grand Prix. Hopefully you're all doing well tonight. Not a full house unfortunately, but there is 17 drivers out there which could put on some great action as well. I've also noticed that G Russell is here. I didn't see his name pop up, so he is here tonight. But let's see how the story is unfolded then here at the Miami Grand Prix as we enter the 18-minute qualifying session around the Hard Rock Stadium here around here, which was first introduced back in 2022, and now we've got 3 USA races on the calendar, such as Texas, this one Miami, and Las Vegas, which should be on the circuit, well, on the calendar in a few races time. And we've got some drivers then out on the circuit ready to give us some lightning fast action, and the first man is the AlphaTauri, and let's see then who the first one is. I think it's QVR Gary who is the first one out on the circuit then, so let's see how the Irishman does around here tonight. And it can be a very difficult track, especially for track limits as well, such technical, twisty, difficult parts of the section which ultimately could ruin some people's races if they don't get it spot on as well. I know that little chicane down there in the last sector can be really tricky as well, so it's very important for all the drivers to negotiate that really well as well, so you can maximise everything. You want to use all the curves you can get away with, using all the track, getting close to the walls, as Pease has left the session already, so hopefully he can get back in immediately, as the other AlphaTauri is on a charge because the other one is flying through the field. He's just overtaken 2 cars. That is Pyro then, so it'll be an AlphaTauri 1-2 followed by the Alpine drivers very shortly. And hello everybody in the chat. Hello Kyle Scarrett, hopefully you're doing alright. I'd rather see you racing than sat on the sidelines or whatever you're doing, but I think you've got more important stuff anyways to be contending with. Yeah, Kyle, you're very technical and difficult, especially at the Tamworth karting circuit. And here's QVR Gary then as he approaches the final 2 corners then. So let's see how he sets up this lap time, just preparing his tyres, preparing the brakes, getting the right temperature, the optimum temperature you want around a circuit is about 90 degrees to get them fired up. And here we are as we head down into the first braking zone, braking around 100 metre balls, kiss the apex on the first one. Oh, we can see the back end already wanted to complain and slide out for Gary there as he exits turn number 3. It is a flat out corner through as we head now into turn 4. You want to flick it into the black spots, carrying a lot of speed as you can as we ride the curves once again, where we saw Charles Leclerc crash at this particular part of the section. We saw Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris had a problem through here. Bring it out wide and try and get a decent exit utilising all the track. DRS, I thought it would be enabled there, but actually it's enabled halfway down the straight, so I'm surprised to see the DRS not being activated or after the turn number 9 corner there. This is turn 9 now, so it's turn 8 before, as we head through then the slow part of the track. Just want to keep minimum speed, don't make sure you don't go out too wide, pick up the throttle at the right time as well. And now coming into the chicane, you want to cut the chicanes, abuse the curves as much as you can, and just get down into first gear the next rotation. You don't really see a lot of people go to first gear nowadays in these Formula 1 cars. It used to be back in the olden games, but it's usually second or third is the way to go. Some people like to carry the speed through the third gear as well to minimise the wheel spin, so they approach the heavy braking zone at turn 18. We reached about 338 kilometers an hour, which is about 212 miles an hour as you get us on the loud pedal once again. So our first lap time, let's see what it is for QVR Gary. It's a 26.9 for everybody to beat, so we've got majority of drivers out there on the circuit now ready to compete against that, and let's see what they can do in their cars. His teammate Pyro is making his way towards the line at 27.9, so already a huge second off there, which is not ideal for the man from Argentina, as here comes German across the line at 27.5 for him, as Pease has eventually joined the session, and Cameron Down snatched it away with a 26.4, put half a second in between himself and QVR Gary already. Obviously he's not in QVR, but that's his name, he hasn't changed it just yet, so don't let that phase you. He is not in FVR. And ILT Yulian then is making his way through the loop as we come onto the straight once again, a very long straight. This is where we'll see the overtaking most likely around here. We saw Max Verstappen put plenty of moves on this particular part of the track, and now we head into turn number 18, so braking heavily at the 100 meter board. You can see the back end just stepping out as he rear locks the brakes, and you expect most of that actually, as here comes ILT Yuli then. He makes his way towards the line. It's a 27.1, so Jeroen Visser has popped his Red Bull into P2. And if Cameron was in that team, be it FER12, but he's not. So Jeroen Visser showing some great pace once again. And we'll see the rest of them come through as well. I have to get my graphics on board because they glitched for a bit. And Walter, I presume the man is doing long runs once again. I think Walter said that Miami is one of his better tracks, so let's see if that statement is proven tonight, as G. Russell puts his Mercedes into P3 there with a 26.7, 2/10 exactly towards Jeroen Visser too, so that's exact there for both of them. Let's see who else is out there for the time being. There we've got Nathan making his way now out of what is that corner actually? I didn't even do my research on the cornering track. That's how much I care about this track. I'm not really a huge fan of it. I don't really particularly enjoy this track, Miami, to race on it or watch. And it's Texas is the one which is the main USA race in my opinion, other than Indianapolis, which was back in 2007. It was in the last race for Indianapolis. And you all remember the 2005 race, even though with 6 cars, it's still a memorable Grand Prix with only 6 cars out there. And I think all 6 cars finished, despite Jordan almost breaking down on the formation lap it was, or the first lap. And here comes Nathan, it's a 27.0, and he puts that car into P6 then, just behind Smalley Boards in P5. It's quite close actually to a podium last time out at the British GP. Very close indeed, but just not there enough. But still showing some great pace. We saw it at the Spanish Grand Prix, didn't we, when he was up there. LT Kenny in P15 is out there on the circuit so far, and he's actually in the pit lane then, so he won't be setting a lap time. Not quite sure if he made a mistake. He didn't invalidate, so I think a mistake is the reason why he's headed off into the pit lane. And Sweet Crown out there in P12 just doing multiple laps and a set of soft compound tyres. And Cameron Dow's dad has returned in the comment section. Hello Cameron Dow's dad, hopefully you're doing alright. I haven't spoken to you for quite a while. And Cameron's dad supports him in the chat. Remember to keep the focus, and I'm not racing for some time. Kyle, you know I'm always focused in the commentary box, mate. You don't need to tell me to focus. Maybe I'm not focused on the track, but in commentary box I'm much more focused, and that's why you don't see me out there on the track making mistakes than in the commentary box. So 10 minutes or 8 minutes have already flew by already in this qualifying session, and currently Cameron Dowd has set the pace ahead of Jeroen Visser in P2. We see Walter out there doing long runs, so we won't expect a very quick lap time as he's turned the ERS off as well. So using this qualifying session as long runs is the Dutchman, who's currently P2 in the championship standings, 49 points away from QVR Nathan in P1. Nathan looking good so far. I think there's 4 races left to go in this season, so yeah, the odds are on him to win the championship. Posh Evans in P9 has invalidated his lap and ran out of fuel too for good measure, so no second lap for him. Maybe I think he did finish a lap, maybe just invalidated on his in lap, so into the pit lane he goes then. I don't think he did a second lap because you don't really ideally want to do 2 laps on the same set of soft compound tyres. Of course if you've got the grip as one and the fuel, but 1 lap is always to go. It's always to go. Yeah, we know Tier 3 and Tier 2 are on at this tyre as well, so clashing between those tyres, but I think a safety car has been deployed in Tier 3. And we've got FER Cameron Dow's. The man has returned after taking 2 seasons out, moving to PC, but quite unsuccessful on PC. I'm only joking, Cameron, if you hear it back, but yeah, the man was on PC for some time. We did see him race in PC, competing against higher drivers. It's a shame he didn't continue his momentum and consistency on PC, because obviously that's the place to go nowadays if you want to get high up there. In fact, we've got a ball with CPI Chaz in P14, so he's currently going on his first lap time. The man returned in the British GP. I think he finished in P7 or 8 it was. Decent little race for him at the British GP. Also made an appearance as well at Spain, and also a good friend and a great league racer himself is CPI Chaz. So let's see what he can do here as he enters then this this middle sector. Just taking nice and cautious there, just getting on the throttle when he needs to. Don't want to overdo it around here. It's so tempting to get on the throttle more than you need to and spin the rear as well, but he takes it very nice through there. Nice change of direction without the back end stepping out on him. Turn 13, 14, 15 and 16 those corners are those little complex of corners. Even though they're slow speed corners, it's so easy to make mistakes through there. It's unbelievable. And now we head down this straight then. It's a 338 kilometers an hour. which I think is 210 miles an hour if I'm not mistaken. Now CPI Chaza negotiates out the final corner. Let's see what he can do in that Mercedes, and he pops himself into P7 with a 27.1, but he's instantly replaced by Pyro, who cements P7 for the time being, and the Ferrari in the background is coming through. I think that Sweet Crowners Bompier is on his outlap with a 42.1 then, so obviously not a representative lap time. Whether he made a mistake on there, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, QVR Gary then stepping up the mark, and he's currently in P3, so it's a great time for the Irishman, for QVR Gary. Jeroen and Cameron are out there, so Cameron's improved by a 10th in the middle sector, so this is looking good. But went a bit wide, and a massive wheel spin as well for good measure at the exit. And here comes Cameron Dowes towards the line. Can he extend his margin? Yes, he can. Lost a little bit of time in that middle sector, but still improves and raises the bar once again. What can Jeroen Vizsla do as we head now into turn number 9 we go? Can be a little bit of a difficult corner. That can be so easy to upbeat yourself after carrying a lot of speed. You can see the back end just stepping out on him as he enters now this little complex of corners. And turn 16, scraped the wall on the exit. We've seen a few people scrape the wall, and that might have cost him a little bit of time, because if I exit out of there, it will definitely compromise you and lose you a lot of time on this straight, so not ideal there. And he still continues. He was a few hundreds up, but will he lose it, I wonder, in that left sector as we stamp on the brakes then heading into turn number 18. Easy to lose traction through there coming out of turn 19, and let's see what lap time he could do in the Red Bull. Is he going to improve the FER driver? No, he can't. He's 5 thousandths down. Is Jeroen Vizsla then, so that tap of the wall may have cost him, but not too much, as Nathan's out there in P6 also improving in his Williams. Nathan having decent races recently, and then the first part of the season wasn't particularly that strong. Yeah, he's won the Saudi Grand Prix last time out when we went there a few weeks ago, or a few months ago. Is George Russell goes quickest with a 26.3, and he's a few hundreds quicker than Cameron Dowes. Then not much separates those two, and it's so close margins there between the two. And he currently puts his Mercedes on pole, then trying to leave where he left off at the British GP. I think he finished second at the British GP, as actually Jeroen Vizsla won that race. Nathan JB makes his way out of the final 2 corners, and let's see if it's an improvement for the Brit in their Williams as he crosses the line now. It is an improvement, and pops himself into P5 with a 26.8 for the Williams team. I think he'll be happy with that one as well. Will Nathan JB. Posh Evans just moved up the order with a 27.2. Had a decent race himself at the British GP. Now I remember, I think Nathan dropped down quite a few positions, didn't he, because of that collision with Isaac Kush, and it wasn't Smalley balls at the time that made contact into Maggotts and Beckett, and that spun them both out, and Nathan just simply was in the wrong place at the wrong time, as ILT Leroy actually took the positions away, gained 3 positions in that little crash they had at Maggotts and Beckett. All to play for here at the Miami Grand Prix. Safety cars could be a factor too, but as a driver myself, and yeah, I'm not really a particular fan around this circuit. Heading down into turn 1 for German, a bit deep there into 1, and turn 2 will get a compromised entry too, but gets out of turn 3 very nicely then as we head down into turn number 4 as the car skates there as we head, flick it in this corner. Very fast part of the track indeed, and it's so easy to get wrong as well. You want to use all the back end, just stepping out on him. Carrying a bit too much speed there, and unfortunately the rear end of that car just could not live with it, and he is down the first sector. So I wonder if we'll bail out on this lap time and just go for it on this set of soft compound tyres, or maybe go back in the pit lane. But we'll find out eventually when he crosses the line to see what he does. As Bompier very deep there, the rear is just not living it whatsoever on that Ferrari, and ultimately he has to back out. So not a representative lap time for him in that Ferrari there. Yeah, it is a 27.5, sorry, so Kyle was right, I wasn't focused whatsoever. I thought he still set a 42.1 as Isaac Kush has retired in the pit lane. So we know the 2 usual suspects that retire in qualifying, and to Cameron Dowes' dad or anybody new in the chat, the reason, well, we've seen it all season really, these guys like to retire to make their way through the field and show what they can do from the back, but I'm not quite sure around this track if you want to start the back or not. I think Isaac Kush actually crashed out somewhere. I don't think he retired in the pit lane, because I just saw a Haas off the track And that was at turn 6. I think, could he have crashed where Charles Leclerc crashed at a particular part of the section? I don't know, but unfortunately he is out of the session, so whether he meant to or not, he's out regardless, and will start in last place. With only 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go on the board, this qualifying has absolutely flown by so far. So Pyro, you always know he likes to go out very early in qualifying sessions to try and get that lap in. He did it quite a lot last season too, when he was fighting Aurelien in the championship. Obviously Aurelien is not here as he's got more important things for him to matter in league racing. He's in F7R now. Is Aurelien moved from Zhezhou? I think he went to... what team did he go to? I'm not quite sure. They closed down recently, didn't they? Can't believe I've already forgotten. It's only a few weeks ago too that they've closed down. But anyways, he's in F7R now, and let's see what he could do in that team. FER, unfortunately, have pulled out of the championship, didn't they? So they're replaced by PGS, sorry. Can't get confused between those two. One's a football, and the other one's an esports team. Football team and the esports team. But Pyro then just slowing down, just preparing his tyres for the final lap of qualifying potentially. If he makes a mistake on this lap, he's always got that extra time to go for it, as he came out the pit lane very early. But the guys who just came out, I think that's the one lap only for them, and he's got to make it count. Oh, already sliding into turn 1. That's a huge mistake there. Took a wide angle, and unfortunately the rear end just could not live with it. So qualifying, well, I say qualifying, his lap is already ruined. So theoretically, he's in sync with the rest of them on their outlaps. So he's got that extra time. Plus, the fuel should be okay, the tyres should be okay, because it was only the first corner that he made a mistake on anyway. So at least it wasn't halfway around the lap or the last part of it. Otherwise, couldn't go for another lap with the lack of battery and also the tyres not being at the right temperature for a flying lap. So he backs out, regenerates the ERS, cools the tyres down, and we shall go on board with somebody else then further up to the field. Let's see, it's German. Luke has retired. He's actually crashed out the stadium section, so that's him done for this qualifying session, whether he meant to or not. But where has he actually crashed? If I try and go on board with the right driver, we just passed him and his car has been taken off the track then. So a Ferrari's coming through. Is that Bompier or Sweetcorn? Let's have a look. There's Sweetcorn, but I'm not quite sure if he's going to go for an actual flying lap. Is the Dutchman? Let's have a look. No, he's not on a flying lap, is he? He's just doing long runs on a soft compound tyre. Should have known really, because it said 5 laps of soft, so I don't know why I fooled myself like that. But we've got an Alpine then who's just crossed the line to start a lap time, and we shall go on board with that driver to see how they do on their lap time. If I can find the driver, that's Cameron Dowles in P2, so we'll go on board with him as he negotiates out the first 3 corners. And now into turn number 4, have got to have a lot of commitment, a lot of speed coming to these corners as well, and very easy mistakes, and you want to just go out wide, bring it back in, but maybe the car, well, it wasn't reluctant to turn in, but still, I think he turned a bit too early as the rear end just sliding. And now he's a few hundreds up in that first sector. Is FER Cameron Dowles looking to claim that pole after Russell took it away. But what can Cameron Dowles do in this last part of qualifying as we dab on the brakes here into the heavy braking zone at turn number 9, then coming through these slow speed corners. Let's see if the rear end of the car lives with it. He's got a car in his way. Will that Ferrari get out of the way? Sweetcorn it is on his long run in qualifying. Cameron Dowles is almost 2 tenths up in the middle sector then. He'll get a lovely tow. I hope Sweetcorn gets out of the way, because you don't want to ruin anyone's qualifying. He should get out of the way because he's not on an actual qualifying lap, is the Dutchman. He won't get out of the way, so Cameron Dowles then will unfortunately have to live with the turbulent air off that Ferrari. And that's not going to be ideal for Cameron Dowles, so he'll be complaining. Yeah, I think that's... yeah, but Cameron Dowles anyway crossed the line with a 26.1, and he claims that pole position then as qualifying has came to a close. FBR Jeroen, I think, has invalidated his lap time, unfortunately, so that's not going to be pole for Jeroen Visser. Smalley Balls crossed the line. He's currently in P5 then, with Nathan making his way down into turn number 18. I don't think Cameron Dowles will really care about that, unless somebody takes pole away, of course, because he feels like he would have been hindered in those final 2 corners with the dirty air and not able to pick up the throttle due to the turbulent air coming off the back of the Ferrari. Kenny is a few hundreds up in the first sector or middle sector, so let's see if he can improve on his position as the finishman makes his way towards the final 2 corners. I don't think Kenny's scored a podium since, was it the Dutch GP last time out? Bompier's in P5. What a great lap time. Kenny crosses the line now, and he's currently in P11 for IRT in the Red Bull. Posh Evans there is not improving, unfortunately. And what about Pyro in P10? Pyro's in the pit lane, so unfortunately his 2 attempts on the same set of soft compound tyres didn't pay off in the end and had to bail out of that one. So qualifying has came to a close, and Cameron Dowd's on pole position. Haven't said that for a while. So I'll take a short break. This should be an interesting race, and I'll be back with you for the race here in Miami. There's no formation lap, so we'll jump straight into the race then, and the lights are underway. Let's see who gets a good start off the track, and let's see, Cameron Dowds covers the inside line, but George Russell will go up the inside, and he takes the lead of the race. Cameron Dowds off the track, so is Russell, and here we are, and Russell gets back on the track with QVR Gary around the outside too, and he revisits into P2, so Cameron Dowds has lost out big time there, and he's down to P6. An optimistic move by Russell, but let's see then how it all unfolds on this first lap. There's more contact, side by side action there into the first part of the lap, but Smalley balls into P6 ahead of Julian. Further down we've got Gary and Bulgarian and Luke. They're fighting side by side, and looks like they got out unscathed, but a bit hairy going into the first corner there. Look, Russell late to the brakes. I think he's on the medium compound tyres there, so that's why. But look at Gary with the slipstream, and let's see if he gets him into turn number 9. No, but Bompier almost hits the back of him, and also the Alpine goes off the track too. Late braking from both of them, just misjudging the braking zones. Julian is fighting with Cameron Dowds now, and that's Smalley Balls, I think, defending from Cameron Dowds. The Sweet Crown's into P11, now into P10, as he's fighting side by side. And let's see who ends the fight. It's Sweet Crown should come on top with those medium compound tyres. Extra grip, extra more traction. Well, I say more traction, get on the traction better, on the throttle better. QVR Gary is ahead of Jeroen there, and that was before turn number 18. So the mediums 1 and 2 looking good for this stage, as Nathan in P1 will try and continue to extend his stint. Kenny's had a shocking first lap, unfortunately. He's down in P17, so I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Actually, Isa Kush has dived in the pit lane now. So Jeroen there on the back of QVR Gary. Jeroen's going for his 3rd win of the season after claiming 1 in Japan. And last race, Bompia really slanted in the corners in turn 2. Might give Smalley Balls a fancy lunge up the inside, but he can't do it. So he has to stay behind for the time being. Then so Cameron Dow's been looking for revenge after that first corner incident. Out from what I saw, Russell saw a gap, went down the inside. Yeah, it was a bit nip and tuck, that move. Just what you really want to see in the first half, isn't it? I don't have much to say about that one. I think Russell, it was fair enough to Russell. He saw a gap, went down the inside, and unfortunately the track's not big enough for the two of them. And Sweet Crown is ahead of Chaz, so that's P15 now to P10, and he moves himself up inside the top 10 with P's defending against Nathan. Well, actually overtaking him, he's moved himself up into P11. So another driver who actually started from the back of this field, and let's have a look where every driver has lost or gained. So Sweet Crown started P14, P started P15 and moved up into 11th place. And Russell's made 1, QVR Gary's gained 2. Third in the background, Sweet Crown will gain 6 places now after this taking on Pyro for P8 ahead of the AlphaTauri driver. So making up some good ground already is Sweet Crown. As we head on to lap 3, then the DRS will be enabled as Russell sets the fastest lap of the race there with a 2.2 gap over QVR Gary. So it's a dream start for Russell. Had to get the move done. He knew he had to do it because he was against Cameron Dow's on the hard compound tyre, the more durable tyre, the slower tyre in this first stage. So critical for him to make those moves on those medium compound tyres. However, Cameron Dow's putting pressure on Smalley Balls in an Aston Martin sandwich is Cameron Dow. So let's get rid of one of them. But now with the DRS enabled, the Smalley Balls have DRS the back of Bompia, whom he's done a great job in P4. We've not really seen Bompia high as this since, when was it? I don't want to say what race it was just in case it was wrong and insulted, but here we are with the overspeed. They might make it 3 abreast on the straight as we head down into terminal line. Let's see who comes out on top, and it might be Smalley Balls as the inside line for the time being. As Sweet Crown, another position is gained. There's an AlphaTauri who's gone for a half spin, and a big slide has cost him a few positions, and that was Pyro. Feel sorry there for Bompia as he got swamped on that straight, didn't he, by the power of the DRS and the slipstream, and moved down into 2 places. I think Smalley Balls had to attack and defend and made that work beautifully, but Cameron Dow's is still on the back of him, and wonder if he will send a lunge into turn number 18. In fact, he's side by side with him now as we head into the heavy braking zone. Cameron Dow's just a bit late on the brakes there. Can Smalley Balls do the under and over? Nope, and he has to stay in P5 there. So Cameron Dow's back into P4 for Alpine, looking to make a recovery drive after that first incident, or first lap corner incident. Sweet Crown has overtaken his teammate Bompia then, so unfortunately Bompia is dropping down the order with his teammate coming through, and Bompia, Sweet Crown is faster than you for your orders back in 2010. I feel ashamed to say that, so apologies Bompia, but it's all a joke at the end of the day. But FBR Jeroen in P3, still on the back of QVR Gary. So QVR Gary hasn't been able to get rid and dispatch Jeroen as he would have wanted on those medium compound tyres, and Jeroen is striking distance on QVR Gary, so I wonder when will he send his move. He can stay in there P3 of the hard compound tyres with beneficial later on in this race for him. Once he switches over, he makes contact with Gary. Late break in there and almost sends the AlphaTauri into a spin as P is now up into P8 ahead of Julian. These guys in the media are not messing around whatsoever, are they? They're just making their way out one at a time on each lap, maybe 4 at a time for Sweet Crown's case, as he gained a lot of positions on the first lap. And then anyways, DRS once again enabled. You can see Bompia having a moment coming out of turn 16 there. Will not do any favours on the straight as the DRS zone is heading up, and this should be an easy move for P's. As here we are with Sweet Crown overtaking Smalley Balls, and he moves himself up into P5, does the Dutchman from P14. 9 places gained in 4 laps. It's incredible to see. Like I said, we all know that he's got the pace to do it. It's just the qualifying sometimes, well, disqualifying himself in qualifying doesn't really go to plan, because starting from the back you've got more risks, more chance of being an incident of course, and obviously the leaders, it can pull a big gap on you, especially the championship as well. If it wasn't for Sweet Crown retiring in qualifying, what could the championship standings been like? Would it have been closer? Would Sweet Crown will be leading it, as I'm watching Isa Kush and Nathan scrap over P16 and P17. So Nathan has pitted onto a brand new set of mediums, and I don't know why was the cause of that. Was it from wind damage? I'm not quite sure, but unfortunately he's down there in P16. And no, Nathan's been in the first few laps instance this season at Qatar and at the Spanish Grand Prix, and they're both with the same, not with the same driver, I don't think. I'm not quite sure who he made contact with in Qatar. But Cameron Dowds has been overtaken by Sweet Crown on those medium compound tyres. And let's have a look at the gap already between the leader and Sweet Crown. 4.3 despite starting the pack. He's just doing a Max Verstappen challenge, isn't he? But I wonder, at the end of this race, he did say this was one of his favourite tracks, so I'm not surprised to see this from Sweet Crown. But here we are with FER Jeroen all over the back of QVR Gary, and I wonder, will he send a lunge now? No, he's not. He'll bide his time, wait patiently behind the AlphaTauri, and choose his moments as we exit out of turn number 16 with Jeroen Vizza and Gary. Well, that's turn 19, sorry, my apologies about that. I was thinking about the little chicane there. And here we are on the straight, then heading into turn 1. Look at Kyle's comment. He says, has Nathan been involved in any instance? And you can see Gary's had a big twitch, and already somebody has caused the yellow flag. That's Kenny's gone for a spin at turn 16, and also German's in the pit lane too. So German unfortunately not really enjoying the Miami track. He did take pole on Sunday for a race, did Gary, or German, sorry. I think he finished on the podium too, if I remember. So unfortunately here tonight, not going well for him. For in the Alpine, I'm used to see him in Alfa Romeo along with CPI Chaza. It's unusual to see those two in a different team. As Lucas retired, Pyro, it's a crash! It's a crash, ladies and gentlemen. Where is that? I actually can't quite tell where it is, actually. I'm not really good at judging, but it's here. I think it's here where they crashed, yeah. Because it's the track map, it's not the way I really want it, you know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it, it's just it's in a different angle. So Gary, Gluck and Pyro have crashed out, unfortunately, and that has brought out a safety car. Now, will this benefit the medium runners, I wonder, to get off those medium compound tyres and probably go on the hard compound tyres later towards the end then? So those two have crashed out. And Kyle there says this hurts the most on the hards right now. The way to go for mediums. Long way to go for mediums. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't read that comment because of the love heart in the chat there, in the comment section. So Russell is in the pit lane now. I'm not quite sure how strict CRL is with white lines, and I wonder if he crossed the white line on the pit lane entry, so that might be under investigation, unfortunately, there for George Russell in P1. And that's the soft compound tyres being applied to that Mercedes. Then this changes the whole strategy plan for this race. Both Ferraris are double stacking, and that's not ideal for Bob Pierre whatsoever. So Russell is on the soft compound tyre. This is going to be a aggressive two-stop. Now, we did see him retire early in qualifying. Kenny picks up a 5-second time penalty, or a speeding penalty, sorry. He's retired in the pit lane. But we did see Russell save a set of soft compound tyres. And, contact! And Gary's in the wall! Do you know what? Sweet Crown has got a penalty for that. This is not the first time I've actually seen that, you know, in league racing here at Miami. I think I've done it myself. Or, I think it was German who got disqualified, I think, in another race, as Nathan there is completely in the wrong place at the wrong time. Do you know what? I think Nathan's strategy is to get off those inters and go on the mediums, because I think he starts on the mediums, so that's why he's on the inters, but obviously you could use the softs or that, old softs. But yeah, I'm not surprised to see that. You know, I've been involved in an incident at the safety car, believe it or not, in the exact same place, but I didn't crash because we both overtook the safety car, and someone got disqualified. I think it was German or Chaza who got disqualified in that race. I took the lead of the race, but I was on old tyres, which definitely cost me because the guys behind on brand new tyres absolutely swamped me, and I fell down dramatically until that safety car at the very end saved me. But yeah, German knows what it's like to get disqualified, or to be involved in a safety car incident. That's a shame for Gary though, because he was doing such a great job, you know, maintaining P2 on the podium position, and unfortunately gets wiped out in a silly incident behind a safety car. A safety car crash is never good, and he has to return to the pit lane, does Gary, because he's got no wing. Whereas Sweet Crown, if he does make another pit stop, you will have to serve a penalty in the pit lane, I think. Was it a 5 second? I think it's a 5 second. Let's go and check. Yeah, you'll have to serve a penalty in the pit lane. If he does pit again, that's if, because those hards, theoretically, can go towards the end. They should go towards the end, I think, as... Who's in the pit lane? Who's that in the pit lane? That's Sweet Crown. So Sweet Crown then is adding some extra flavour to this race and doing something completely different once again. Oh no, he's serving his 5 second penalty, and also I think he's changed his front wing because he might have front wing damage. So yeah, he won't be on the hards. He'll be in the soft compound tyres as he changes that nose cone on the Ferrari. Gary is in the pit lane as you expect to change that front wing. So is Nathan too. But I'm not quite sure how many drivers were involved in that safety car incident there. Gary and Sweet Crown for sure, but I saw more drivers hit the back of each other, so I'm surprised there's not a lot of penalties being handed out or a lot of front wing damage. So what's the story in this race? The medium compound tyre has been applied for Jeroen, Cameron, Smalley boards. I think we might see majority of the field back in the pitch, you know, except Pease, who might stay out there to go towards the end on those hard compound tyres. I don't think the mediums can make it. If they do, there'll be a mighty stretch on those medium compound tyres. The softs, oh yeah, that's definitely out of the equation. They'll definitely not go towards the end. They'll definitely do another pit stop for sure. But mediums, I've seen some phenomenal things, you know, in league racing about mediums can go quite long. Even when the mediums are quite old, you can still extend that stint on those medium compound tyres. It's incredible. You've got to have the setup and skill for that to achieve something like that. We saw it in Australia, didn't we, with a few drivers on the medium compound tyres where the safety cars, yeah, mediums will make it, but it'll be really bad at the end. Like we saw the Australian Grand Prix, some people's tyres were like 70%, I think, when an early safety car came out. But Pease has stayed out there, so if this is the scenario, and if another safety car doesn't come out, if those mediums can go towards the end, Pease might be in a great position because his tyres will work in favour towards the end of this race. Kyle, how come you're not commentating with me, by the way? You seem to be in the chat, but not commentating with me. It'd be lovely to have you in the chat or comments box. We've lost 3 already from this Grand Prix. Pyro, Luke, and ILT Kenny will get racing once again then with a different change of strategy. And it was definitely not in the script for these drivers. Russell is on the soft compound tyres then, so doing a short stint and maybe on the mediums towards the end. His mediums will be mighty towards the end, so has he got the pace to pull away on these soft compound tyres? We know the softs are not really a favourable tyre at any racetrack, but he's got to make the softs work then. He can't afford to hang around on those soft compound tyres. He needs to pull away as soon as he can once the safety car comes in. Deleted the game. Kyle, why, man? I thought at the beginning of the game you're quite quick, you know. Why have you deleted the game for? Oh, that's a shame, Kyle. I swear you were much quicker in this game as well in 2022, but we get racing once again. Look at that. Pease has got a decent restart, but I don't think he can overtake during a safety car line. I think the safety car line you have to go after it, which is into turn 1 we go. I think he's under pressure now for Bob Pugh trying to go around the outside, has the inside line for turn 2. He has the medium compound tyres for extra grip, and now they're being left behind by Smalley boards. As you can see, these two will continue their battle. Bompier will force the lunge into turn 4 if he can, and he does do so. That's a crucial move for Bompier, but you can be very careful because we've seen a few snaps off the rear end of that car, haven't we, on Bompier, especially down at turn number 3 as well. So Bobby's going to be very careful with his snaps. Also outbroke himself into turn number 9. A multi-car battle going on in the midfield here. Multi-car battle. Let's see how it all plays out towards the end. Sweet Crown on those soft compound tyres. I'll turn off the graphics there to get a good view of it all. And there's a Haas there involved too. And we'll go into turn number 9. Looks like they all get out cleanly too. With German trying to go around the outside of Nathan, but nothing doing. But look at Posh Evans will try and take every opportunity he can, but obviously backs out of that one because you don't want to go side by side through there because you've got a chicane coming up, a really slow chicane. Not really a fan of it, but it's just a hiatus. Yeah, fair enough then, Kyle. And looks like German's had a problem with that turn number 16 there, so he's dropped back, and now QVR Gary is on his tail, and QVR Gary to make up some places after he lost it at the safety car. As we head down into the penultimate corner, Gary's ahead of German. These two had a good scrap back in the Spanish Grand Prix. As Russell there on the soft compound tyres, you expect him to set the fastest lap of this race, so he needs to pull the trigger now on this soft stint build up as much of a gap he can before he goes on to the medium compound tyres. I believe he started the hards, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did, because Cameron was on the mediums. No, did he start on the mediums? It doesn't matter anyway, because you get 2 sets of mediums in your disposal if he chose the balance strategy or harder. But yeah, he's got another brand new set of mediums anyway, and he'll be very quick towards the end of the race when he puts on those medium compound tyres. Could be medium soft, but I think mediums is the safer way to go in this race for that tyre life towards the end once he makes up. Once he tries to catch these guys up once again. Also, Sweet Crown's progress is well in P9. I've got the gap to lead a hand tie, so I wonder why the gaps were so big, but I'll have a look then between all those guys. And Chaz has been overtaken by Isa Kush. The Mercedes man moves him down into P10, and the Singapore driver making a move. Isa Kush's last win, that was quite a while ago. Singapore Grand Prix. He did win that race, but post penalties kicked in. But I actually can't remember the last time. He definitely won a race. I'm not saying he didn't, but I can't remember because my memory is absolutely shocking. It was a few seasons ago since Cameron Dowles made his debut at CRL. It was the F1 2021 car, so it was definitely a while ago. And he did score some wins now and then, a few podiums added to his name, and he's back again for CRL. Interested to see what he could do for PS4, as he's back on it, or PlayStation now. As we head down into turn number 1, Jeroen there maintaining P2 ahead of Cameron, and Smalley Balls is still there in P4, and the Aston Martin Bompier is following too. So despite those two going side by side, Bompier and Pease, they haven't broken out that all important DRS train, because once you detach from the DRS train, it's so hard to claw yourself back in as well. So he did use a lot of ERS for good measure, and that's why it's quite low, to try and get himself back in this DRS train and hopefully save some of it once the DRS is applied on the next lap. After the safety car, no, DRS is this lap, so after the DRS it's 2 laps before the DRS is enabled. But look at Cameron Dowles' ERS, look how much he's got at his disposal as well with Jeroen Visser. And now Pease has been overtaken by Sweet Crown, and he moves himself up into P6. Sweet Crown's made a lot of moves recently. I think he's had more overtakes than all the drivers on the grid, which is 17. And Cameron Dowles and Jeroen Visser continuing their battle as we head into turn 16. It's so important to get a good exit out of here, because it leads you onto this straight and it sets you up for a nice overtake, or it could be hunted down by the guy behind, which is Cameron Dowles, putting the pressure on. It's going to be a very interesting strategy call from Nathan to see if he can make this work, you know. His soft compound tyres won't last that long, but here we are with a Ferrari down the inside of Sweet Crown versus Bompier. And for the second time in this race, he's overtaken his teammate, has Sweet Crown. He's up into P5, so utilising those soft compound tyres to his advantage and moving his way up through the field. And once again, we head into turn 1 with Jeroen Visser behind Cameron Dowles. But all these guys are all bunched up with different tyres on board. P's on the hard compound tyres, so I expect him to go towards the end of this Grand Prix, if anything changes otherwise in this race. We head now into turn number 7, another critical corner to get out as well, because you have to go out wide to take the exit, but sometimes you can go out too wide. You either oversteer massively or invalidate or exceed track limits as well. That's a difficult one to get right. As Jeroen Visser has made his way back up into P2 ahead of Cameron Dowles, and Sweet Crown follows through, puts his Ferrari into P4. But I don't know. Let's see who's at an advantage there. We know for sure that Sweet Crown and Russell will have to pit once again to get off those soft compound tyres. But I wonder how long those softs can go for. 2.2 second gap Russell has pulled out ahead of Jeroen Visser. So let's say about laps 15, 16 decides to pit, and we'll see if that tyre advantage towards the end pays back towards his favour. And Cameron Dowles and Jeroen Visser, they're constantly swapping positions for P2 and P3. However, these guys are all bunched up. There's a bit of contact as well for good measure heading into turn number 17. That was Smalley Balls against Bompier. Bompier looked like he tried to go for a move, but Smalley Balls had him covered. But you can see Bompier just at the back of him. And heading into turn number 1 once again between these two drivers. They remain where they are for the time being. And now Nathan's made his way back up into P10 on those medium compound tyres. Lap 13 out of 29, then we're almost halfway there between all these drivers. Russell, how much life he got left in those soft compound tyres? I don't think those soft compound tyres can pull out any more of a gap than he's already pulled. So, it could be The tyres then started to deteriorate just a little bit for the mediums to come back in his favour. The soft compound tyres don't last you though. You've got to use all the juice within 4 or 5 laps before the soft compound tyres reach the end of their peak performance. The Smalley Balls then has re-overtaken Walter, moves himself up into P4. So this short stint on the soft compound tyres, will it pay dividends for the likes of Russell and Sweet Crown? That's the big question there, if they can make the strategy work. Obviously, oh, that's a big slide there. Into turn 16, Smalley Balls went. The rear of the car just slided, but still made the corner, hopefully, because he could have got off the track easily. We've seen many drivers do that before when they missed the first part heading to turn 13. They cut the chicane in turn 14. It's easily done around this track. And Cameron Dow's then once again up into P2, so just trading position so far. Sweet Crown is up into P4 ahead of Smalley Balls once again. High speed cat and mouse games as Sweet Crown is in the pit lane then for Ferrari, so a short stint on the soft compound tyres, only done about 5 laps, and I think that's the end of their peak performance. And you can see he's been overtaken by Smalley Balls and the rest of them, so there's no point staying out there on the soft compound tyres whilst you can't pull away. As you can see, the gaps just fluctuating between Russell and Cameron Dowd, about 1.1 or 1.9 and 2.1, but that's obviously these two battling. But now the mediums should be in favour in this race, and the soft compound tyres will be drifting away. Sweet Crown is rejoining P13. We know he's got monumental pace in that Ferrari, in the hands of Sweet Crown. With a brand new set of mediums, he'll be rapid towards the second half of this race then. So let's see him make his way through the field once again. Jeroen Visser back up into P2. Bompier is up into P4 for Ferrari. Bompier's doing a great job so far here in Miami. We know he's struggled a bit in the last few races, but it looks like he's gained some momentum and form to be back up there in P4. So I expect George Russell to be in the pit lane at the end of this lap, surely, because you can see there the gap is 1.5, so those soft compound tyres have run out of juice, and all the grip has been used up and gone. And Cameron Dowds again on Jeroen Visser. High speed cat and mouse games, they constantly trade DRS between those two. And Russell is not in the pit lane then, so the longer he keeps out there, the big chance that Sweet Car might undercut him too. So, but I wonder, laps 16, 17, 13 laps to go on the medium compound tyres. Wants the freshest mediums out of the lot, and let's see if he can claw his way through the field. And Isa Kush is fighting with Julian in this multi-car battle there, in this big high-speed train of a DRS. You can see a lot of drivers deploying their batteries, just trying to get past each other. And yellow flags in that first sector, that's not good news if a safety car could be deployed. Posh Evans has gone for a spin at the exit of turn 3, which is easily done as well. The rear end of the car maybe taking a bit too much curb on the end. Oh, it's a big crash! What has happened there? Then the Williams has lost his wing. Isa Kush is also involved with Julian. It's like a Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly situation, isn't it? Back in 2022, obviously, because we've only had 2 races in Miami in its history. But yeah, this is a bit messy then, with all these drivers fighting without any wings, and there's more contact too in the process. CPI Chaz there in P9. Has he got any damage sustained to that Mercedes? Doesn't look like he's done, so I'm not surprised if it's Nathan's fault. It's always Nathan's fault. Even if it isn't Nathan's fault, it is Nathan's fault. Even if Nathan's not involved, it's always his fault. And I'd love to see his YouTube video again. And Cameron Dowds has been overtaken by Jeroen Visser. So, what's Nathan going to do? The other Nathan. Oh, there's a 3-car battle here between McLaren, Ferrari, and Aston Martin. I think Bompier has been swamped by those two. And Smalley Balls back up into P4. Bompier was in P4 momentarily, but he's just been overtaken by Smalley Balls in P4. And now Bompier up the inside into 1. They both make slight contact into 1, headed into turn 2 now. Oh, more contact too, as P's just tagging the rear left of that car. And they're still continuing their fight. This is the other way around now, with P's having the inside line into turn 4, unlike last time. And now P's is back up into P5 ahead of CRL Bompier. So Nathan, Julian and Posh Evans all in that pit lane then. So in the space of 1 lap, 4 gyros have had issues. Posh Evans by himself and 3 other cars making contact as well. Isa Kush was involved, but did he lose any of his own play? I'm not quite sure. Definitely lots of carbon fibre being spooned on the track, but it looks like his front wing is still intact. So lucky escape there for Isa Kush. Remains to fight another day, does Isa Kush in the Haas. But looks like this battle has helped smaller balls sufficiently, because these two fighting side by side, it's actually allowed smaller balls to get out of the DRS of these two. So can he use that to his advantage to finally have clear air and pull away from these two, as Bob Pierre and Pease will be fighting with DRS against each other once again, as Jeroen Visser and Cameron Dowles continue their squabble for P2 and P3. Yeah, I think for sure Russell is definitely gambling on a safety car. You can see he's losing a lot of time, despite the gap was 1.5 like a lap ago, now it's 2.4, so it's like keep training lap times, do Jeroen Visser, Russell and Cameron Dowles, but it's soft compound tyres must be off the cliff by now. Sometimes I do underestimate the soft compound tyres. It could be a good tyre, you never know really, depends if their setup matches their race pace as well. Oh, look at Pease having a big slide out of turn number 3 as he tries to get the throttle. We know Pease can make it to the end on these hard compound tyres, but the mediums towards the end, 12 laps to go, their tyres will be 22 laps old if they don't make another pit stop. And Chazer and German are in the pits too. So I'm surprised Jeroen Visser and Cameron Dowles haven't really caught up that much on Russell. The gap was like 1.4 like a few laps ago, but it's back up to 2.2 then, so I wonder if these two fighting has lost him a bit of time towards Russell. But I know Sweet Crown will be on the big charge here on a brand new set of mediums. If a safety car does come Russell's way, it'll be a massive advantage for him, because I dare say if a safety car comes out now, the other guys on those mediums will be pitted too to go on a brand new set of, or an old set of softs or another set of mediums. Yeah, these guys will have time. These guys will have 2 brand new sets of mediums in their disposal to use as well. So if another safety car does appear, I think they'll go on the mediums, because if they stay out there on all the mediums, they'll be dropped like a stone. And Sweet Crown has overtaken Isa Kush in an unconventional overtaking place really, but I think Isa Kush there will have the DRS on the Ferrari, so did he let him go, or did Sweet Crown make that move into turn 16? But anyways, Isa Kush is back on the Ferrari, and he re-overtakes it for P7, but I think that'll be short-lived because of Sweet Crown's newer tyres, and you can see already alongside him at the exit of 18 there, having better traction, and now moves himself up into P7 ahead of the Haasman, having DRS for good measure as well to defend against the Singapore driver, and he remains in P7 then, hunting down the rest of them. What's the gap to the leader? Let's have a look at that. 17 seconds. Oh, there's a McLaren there in P14 causing a yellow flag. That could be a virtual, you know, because there's debris on the track. We do see safety cars or virtuals when there's debris on the track, but no, not this time round. So I think for the likes of Sweet Crown can breathe easy, but Russell, when he saw that yellow flag, he'll be hoping that'll be a safety car, but not lucky enough for him. So Smalley Balls is still just ahead of Pease over a second with that crucial DRS of course, but Pease has actually gained a bit of time on Smalley Balls, 1.1 now, so he's almost in DRS range of the Aston Martin, bringing along Bompier too for good measure. But their 3 wide moment was iconic as well. Great side-by-side action between all 3 of them. Made it out unscathed in a corner like turn 16 or turn 19 where you have arrive at high speed, as Nathan has overtaken Gary, moves himself up into P9. Cameron Dowles and Jeroen Visser traded places for P2 and P3 once again in the same place of the track. Bompier is ahead of Pease. And I think Bob is a DRS range now, or Smalley Balls, so he can use DRS to protect himself against relentless Pease. As you can see, a big slide for Smalley Balls too, so won't do any favours on the exit, as it will allow Bompier to get even closer too. And Cameron Dowles there, and Bompier, or Cameron Dowles and Jeroen there, still continuing their scraps for P2 and P3. But how good is Sweet Crown's pace? 10 laps to go. Those mediums on the guys who pitted during the safety car for the medium compound tyres will be dropping off the cliff. But can they manage their tyres towards the end? How have they got the tyre life to defend? But can Sweet Crown make up that deficit towards the end? The gap to lead is 14.7. We know Russell's got to pit again. He can't hang this out for sure. But I don't know if Russell's left it out too late, you know. Will he make up that deficit in the pit lane? It's a huge loss, huge time loss in the pit lane. As you can see there, the ghosted car of Josh wants to get involved in the action. But the longer Russell stays out there, the less time he has to claw his way back in, and therefore won't have the laps to try and get those guys back. So I think he's left it out a bit too late. Maybe I don't know, because like if he pits onto a brand new set of softs, it's a long it's a big time difference to make up within, like, say if he pits now 10 laps. What's the pit lane loss around here? I think it's quite high, isn't it? Not quite sure, because of the speed limit is about 60 kilometers an hour, 38 miles an hour, or 38 miles per hour. Yeah, I know he's done 12 laps on these. I'm still... Yeah, it's Russell pitted then. And it is an 80-kilometer pit lane, so what's that? 40 miles an hour? Or 50 miles an hour? I'm not quite sure. I don't know why I've got to kilometers now, I've always done it. But Russell is on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres then, so instead of doing medium, soft, medium, it's medium, soft, soft. But, is that soft brand new? I'm not quite sure. And he comes out of the pit lane right now. And I think that's a scrub set of the soft compound tyres, because he did use 2 sets of softs in his qualifying run. And he saved one of them, and that one of them was used in the pit lane. It's new. Yeah, but I thought he used 2 sets of soft compound tyres in qualifying. That's what I thought. He did 2 runs, didn't do the 3rd one, saved a set of softs. But maybe he's gone for the softer strategy. I don't know. I don't think he would have done it anyways. But Smalley Balls is back up into P3, or defending for Bompier. Bompier is hooded him down now, as once again they're in this DRS train, a pair of them, or all 3 of them. So where's Russell? Russell has rejoined in P7, or you can see Smalley Balls picking up a 3-second time penalty in the common place like turn 16, 17 and 18. And multi-car battle once again between these 3. Chazza versus Julian. Julian having the inside line, his former teammate Chazza, and Nathan's getting involved too on the action. And Bompier and Pease are exchanging positions once again. Pease a bit late to the brakes there, forcing Bompier to go all the way around the outside on the dirty stuff. Smalley Balls, interestingly, is in the pit lane. So he thinks these mediums won't go towards the end, so that's an interesting change of strategy for Smalley Balls. I think this could be the soft compound tyres, because we're seeing softs being introduced now. It is a set of soft compound tyres, so watch him be flying towards the end of this race as well. You can see Russell already gained a lot of time on Sweet Crown then, so this is going to be an interesting battle. Remember what happened last time these 2 came to blows? Isaac Kush has retired from the race. This could be a safety car. Where is this? At turn 1? Let's have a look, shall we? Is there going to be a safety car, I wonder? No, it's not then. So no safety car has been deployed. And this could have changed a lot of things in this race if a safety car was deployed. I think Yavun and Cameron might have an advantage if a safety car did come out, but they're going to be hunted down towards the end of this race between Sweet Crown and Russell on a brand new set of softs. Smalley Balls 2 and P7, but he's got a 3-second time penalty to his name. So remember what happened at the British GP when these 2 came together? I think Russell sent Sweet Crown into a spin at turn number 4 into the loop we went, but they're close together as Russell is in DRS range. He closed the gap quite sufficiently against Wilder too. Gained a substantial amount of time on the Ferrari driver ahead, but catching up's another thing, overtake is another thing too against Sweet Crown for sure. Here comes Russell on the inside. I wonder how close this will be. As you can see, Sweet Crown trying to stick around the outside. Russell will have the grip on those soft compound tyres, but Sweet Crown will have the DRS, so Russell importantly needs to get a good launch out of this last corner to make sure that Sweet Crown doesn't lunge him back into turn number 1. As you can see, he sets the fastest lap of the race as well. Sweet Crown not close enough to make a lunge into 1, so that's it then, that's his chances done. Unless, of course, Russell's tyres die towards the end, which they shouldn't do because he did 12 laps already on the soft compound tyres. So Russell is in a great position then to win this race. Let's have a look at the gap to leader. If he can make up that deficit. 10 seconds is the gap. So he needs to dispose these 2 cars immediately. You can see already the amount of time he's gained on Bompier. Bompier will have the DRS at the back of Pease. But how hard will he fight this? Will he help Wilder in the championship? You can already see before the DRS was open, Russell was alongside anyways, but will Bompier try and make it harder for Russell? As here comes Nathan with the overspeed, but can't quite make a lunge. He was too far back heading into turn number 9, now heading through these slow speed corners, trying to go around the outside. This would be very risky against Pease. I think his best option is just to wait for the straight, because going side by side in a corner like that will always end up in contact as well. And here we are then with the twisted nature of this track. We've got Aston Martin who's had a moment out of turn number, where's that? Turn number 13. And Russell then side by side with Pease has moved himself back into P3. I don't know if Cameron Dowds and Jeroen Visser are on a party with each other, but I wonder if they are they saying to each other, look, Russell's coming on, this Russell's closing us down, so let's just wait, let's not fight it too much, let's just use each other as DRS. Then towards the last lap of the race, if Russell is not close enough, that's where we'll have a fight for P1. They know Russell will be hunting them down towards the later stage of this race, so those two will be focused on him. Or better contact between the two teammates, between Smalley Balls and Julian. I think was that Smalley Balls who had a mistake out of turn 13 there, because he was in P7 when he came out of the pit lane. Now he's down as P9, so he must have made a mistake on the track somewhere. And that's what caused the yellow flag. So I was thinking to myself, why is Julian fighting this? Because he knows his teammate is on different strategies. But still, we're headed to turn number 4 with Smalley Balls around the outside. What a great lunge there from Smalley Balls to have the confidence and speed and the grip to go around the outside of a corner like that to get 8th place. But Julian will have DRS, as Sweet Khan then has been overtaken by his teammate for the 3rd time in this race. Being overtaken 3 times by your teammate is never a good sight, is it? But obviously the pace difference and the tyre difference too. So the gap now is 7 seconds. 1.1 is the gap he gained. Well, that's incredible pace. He needs to gain a second a lap if he wants to win this race. Closing is one thing, but overtaking will be another thing as well. If a safety car does come out, could help, but Gary and Nathan are having a scrap for P10 and P11. This is going to be a great finish towards the end there. I think Cameron Dowds and Jeroen Visser has settled down for the time being, not continuing their scraps, because the more the scrap, the more of a chance that Russell closes in. You can see the big tyre difference between the two. 6 laps to go. You can see Russell is gaining and gaining lap by lap, and he'll definitely get him towards the end for sure. Maybe before the end, like lap 27 or something, depending if he keeps pace going for the rest of the lap. I didn't think Russell's strategy worked, you know, but with his pace, even on the old soft compound tyres, Jeroen and Cameron weren't really gaining. They were gaining, but the gap went up to like what was it 2.1 again, so the gap was dipping, then back up again. But Russell 5.2 seconds away from Cameron Dowds and Jeroen Visser, and they're closing in dramatically. I don't think these two have anything to respond with. They've got a lot of EOS in the disposal, but I don't think that'll help. You know, Russell's low on EOS. I don't think Cameron Dowds and Jeroen know that, but can they defend? Can these two help each other to keep Russell behind? Obviously they'll be focused on winning this race too, but they've got to work together to make sure if they can win this race or not. That'll be a big ask for these two. Posh Evans there remaining in P3, as we've got Smalley Balls versus Julian once again. Not quite sure if Smalley Balls had any damage due to that moment coming out of turn 13, but looks like he's sustaining it well. Maybe his tyres are not really working to his perfection either, maybe with that slight spin, because these soft compound tyres can overheat quite a lot too. But with the fuel burning off, with the track evolution kicking in as well, temperatures lowering, it's helping the soft compound tyres. You don't really want to start the softs towards the start of the race, but towards the end of it, that's when it comes alive. And you can see the gap is 3.4. It was 6 seconds like a lap ago, so you can see the amount of time Russell is gaining and gaining as well. If Russell wins this race, it'll be an incredible race too, because not only Walter's had a lot to do, can't even get my words out tonight. If Walter has not only Walter's done a lot of work, but also Russell too, with all that pace he had in hand on those soft compound tyres, and also on a brand new set of softs, gaining and gaining on the two ahead of him, as Jeroen and Cameron have overtaken. What was the gap? I didn't quite see the gap, you know. Was it 18 seconds when he came out of the pit lane to 2.7 in about 7 laps? And Nathan and Gary exchanged positions again for P10. But Russell's almost there. You can see the win in sight. 3 cars ahead of him. One of them's lapped, of course. And Smalley Balls has overtaken Chazza now. So back up into P7 he goes where he was originally. But unfortunately wasn't able to capitalise on those soft compound tyres because he went backwards. So I don't think he has enough time to catch Bompier unless he's got substantial pace towards the end. But it looks like Bompier cements P6 because he's actually drops away from P's actually in that Ferrari. If I work out the gap, it's about 3 seconds away. Yeah, 3 seconds away is Bompier. So those two have finally detached themselves and been split apart. So Bompier will cement P6 unless anything happens to him later on in this race with a 3-second time penalty or an incident. But it'll be his best result of the season if he stays in P6. And Russell can see a victory coming. 1.7 seconds away. He's got 3 laps to do the overtake now. You can see he'll be in the DRS range of the McLaren. He's in DRS of the McLaren driver ahead of him. You've still got DRS if you are a lapped car behind, because obviously in the second of the lap car. So we can put it onto interval now. and he'll gain a lot of speed on the straight, but he's got no battery left whatsoever. So the difference is these two have got a lot of battery in the disposal to use. However, Russell has the tyre advantage. And now this is going to be in a fascinating battle towards the end. Overtaking these two is a big challenge, and I don't think that ghosting's ideal for Russell there, because even though he's a ghosted car, not solid, it still affects your point of view, your eye line heading into the next corner, which you don't want to whatsoever, because it can put you off your reference points very easily. Yeah, but I've seen in the past monumental defending against with battery versus like tyre life. Maybe this is a different scenario, of course, because the last time I saw it was like Singapore and tracks like that. But Russell's right behind then. Behind Jeroen Visser. Will have a decent exit on the soft compound tyres. When will he make his lunge? There's 3 laps to go in this race. Russell can see a victory right ahead of him. Overtaking these two is a big challenge. And now he's caught up. Can he overtake him as we head into turn number 1? The main place to overtake. Around lap 4. Why did I say lap 4? It's turn, sorry. Turn 19, I believe that corner is. Or turn 17. You can make overtaking happen down at turn number 9. That's also another opportunity to overtake, because you get DRS off this corner as well. Important to have good traction and speed out of this slow speed corner. But obviously he doesn't have the battery to defend as these two do, so they have that for the time being. But Russell, no battery whatsoever. Now Jeroen Visser takes the lead this race. Here comes Russell on Cameron Dowds. He'll take P2 away from the Scotsman as he moves himself up into P2 ahead of Cameron Dowds. One more driver left to go, and this should be easy pickings with the soft compound tyres and the DRS on the back of that Red Bull. Gotta make sure he don't make contact either, because the difference in speed we'll have on those soft compound tyres will be huge. Now with the DRS open for Russell, Jeroen Visser has the battery in that Red Bull, and here comes Russell. Then he needs to get a decent exit out of the final corner if he wants to maintain P1. But Russell takes the lead of this race ahead of Jeroen Visser. Nothing Jeroen could do, of course, but I think he needs a decent exit, otherwise Jeroen will get him back into 1. You can see Jeroen suffering with oversteer. And I think that's it then. Nathan has secured the victory. There's 2 laps to go in this race, and if he can't get the move immediately into 1, that's it. Russell will pull away in these fast speed corners, high speed corners, so he's got this win in the bag. Fair play to him. Different strategy call. I thought the softs were the wrong choice, but evidently he's made these work. I thought he left it too late, you know, because I didn't expect him to have a brand new set of softs in his disposal to use towards the end. I thought he had the mediums on, so if he did have the mediums on, I don't think he would have been close, but not close enough. But IoT Julian and smaller balls are still fighting for P8 and 9, as Chaza is in P7 as he cements that for the time being. So the gap is 1.4 then, so Jeroen and Cameron are left to their battle for P2. So the battle for P2 is still on between these two. And let's see which one of these two will come out on top. However, it's been a great drive from Jeroen Visser and Cameron Dowds. I think they knew that ever since Russell caught up, there was no chance of defending that Mercedes. It's mighty quick. So they left it. They just let it. Well, they didn't make it easier for him, but at the same time, didn't want to let him go. And these two remain as they are then in P2 and P3. And the Aston Martin once again has gone off the track. That is Smalley Balls, who's retired on the track. Come on, Smalley Balls, you have 2 laps left to go, mate. I know it's frustrating, but still, you can't retire on the track, man. He is out of this race, unfortunately, as German is in the pit lane then, so I expect a fastest lap coming from German in P12. CPR Chaza in P7, once again doing a great job for Mercedes. He scored a P7, I think, at a British GP or P8, it was definitely one of the two. But he's done a great job so far in that Mercedes. He's not done and dusted yet because he's got ILT Julian right behind him too, so that battle still continues. But it's the last lap of this race then, so the battle for P2 is on. Cameron Dowds will have the DRS on Jeroen Visser, so this is the time to dump the battery they have in the disposal, to use it all. As you can see, they're applying it on this short straight here, headed into turn number 9. But it's critical to get it right. It's turn 13 and 16. Those are critical corners to get right as well, because the big straight's coming up. So if you mess up in that, you lose a lot of time, and the guy behind you will pounce. So Jeroen Visser a bit deeper to 9. So you can see Cameron will have the edge over him. You can see in the car, those medium compound tyres are off the cliff there. You can see 22 laps old. So it's very critical out of turn number 16 to get a good exit, and let's see if Cameron Dowes does, which he does do, and off the DRS on the back of Jeroen Visser. So both of these drivers will be dumping their battery. Jeroen Visser goes defensive on the inside line. Cameron will have to go all the way around the outside, and let's see if they are late to the brakes. Into turn 17 we go. They go wheel to wheel. Jeroen Visser has the inside line. Cameron's trying to go around the outside. And here comes Russell to win the Miami Grand Prix. But Cameron has the slight edge of DRS. And he takes P2. He just got P2 there. Had a great exit at the final two corners. And got Jeroen Visser with the DRS as well. What a close battle between these two all race long. Fair play. I thought Jeroen Visser had it. But Cameron Dowes had the grip around the outside. Just to pip P2 away from Jeroen Visser. It looks like Peace was coming back on Sweet Crown 2, P4. But overall, this was a great race. Better than I expected around here in Miami, because I thought it would be a big DRS train and whatnot. But still, it's a great race we've seen so far in Tier 1, and I've enjoyed it so far. And hopefully you all have it too. Different strategies, obviously that safety car changed the trajectory of the race too. What could it have been? But anyways, this race has been phenomenal. Russell wins the race again. He extends his championship lead. So Russell, in the last few races of the season, can see himself becoming a one-time world champion for the first time in CRL. And I think German is yet to cross the line. There he is then. German's 2 tenths down, so I'm not quite sure who has the fastest lap of the race. Let's have a look if I can find it. Before he crossed the line, it's Nathan, and German didn't get it. Well, fair play to Nathan though, to keep it that fastest lap, because German had a brand new set of softs towards the end, but unfortunately couldn't take the fastest lap away from him. Gotta say, what a way to round off the Miami Grand Prix as Russell rises in the air. Still be rise, from Lewis Hamilton's quote, but that was a phenomenal race indeed from start to end. Russell, on a brand new set of softs, closed the gap down. He even in the middle stint there on those soft compound tyres, 12 lap holds, Cameron Dowes and Jeroen Visser, I thought they'd be closing him down and hunting him down, but they didn't. And in the end, Russell, with 10 laps left to go, brought down over a 20-second gap to winning the race. Just phenomenal drive there from Russell. Cameron Dowes had that pole, but ultimately it was Russell in the end who took the victory ahead of the two FER drivers. Jeroen Visser, a good podium for Red Bull. He'll be happy with that one in P3. I think the championship, I just want to dare say, has gone to Russell because Sweet Crown from in validations in qualifying. Well, that is the race done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. I'll have a quick look to see what track it is for the next race. And it is Imola with only 2 laps left to go. Or 2 laps left to go. 2 races left to go at Imola and Sao Paulo. Should be 2 great tracks as well. I can't wait to see what happens in Imola and Sao Paulo. Still a lot of points to lose and gain. But I think Russell has a great chance of winning the championship at Imola. But anyways, that's it from me, and hopefully you all enjoyed the race, enjoyed all your company too, and I'll see you all next time out at Sao Paulo or Imola.